Okay, hello everyone. Thank you very much for watching our Lockinge preview. Welcome to all the new subscribers. We got quite a few after our French Guineas preview, so thank you very much for subscribing to the channel, liking the content. And for those of you just on YouTube, we do have an X account and we do have a website. So if you want first access to a lot of the emails that we send out previewing some of the big US and international races, go to our website and subscribe. But today we are all eyes on the Lockinge, probably the race of the season so far. Well, certainly for the older horses, it's difficult to beat the Guineas, but for the older horses, this is an absolute stunner of a race, isn't it?
Absolutely. Sometimes you get the feeling that even though it's a Group 1, the Lockinge is slightly weak as the big guns keep powder dry later in the season. But this is shaping up to be a cracker.
Yeah, it's a fair track. Should be good to firm ground, proper flat racing ground. Field of 8, hopefully we'll touch on that, and should be a great race. So we'll get straight into it with Rosallion, and I think we are both in agreement here that he is too short. He's a horse I absolutely love, a horse that I'd want to win, but I just cannot bring myself to back him at 7-4. Definitely in agreement here that he's too short.
I'm afraid I cannot disagree with anything. We're exactly on the same page here. Very excited to see him back. I thought he was quite interesting at 5-2 about 10 days ago, and you're weather watching to see if he gets his ground, because that was the danger. He's got his ground, and now 7-4. No, after 330 days off the track.
Yeah.
And just some of those he beat last season in the rearview mirror, not looking that great. Your Henry Longfellows.
Yeah.
I still think he's the most likely winner, but no, like you, I'm out.
Okay. Yeah, and also of the same persuasion for Dancing Gemini. I think he is far too short. 10-3, 11-4. I think he's got a tendency to much prefer soft ground. I don't think he'll obviously get his ground on Saturday. His time at Sandown was slow, despite the fact that it was good ground in the Racing Post, and obviously Doncaster was quite slow ground. All his form last year came on soft ground. He wasn't at the level of the other market leaders last year, and I just don't think he's a fair competitor against him. I don't like him at all.
No, I'm mainly with you. A couple of things, niggle away at me though. But firstly, that he's one where there's great discrepancy in prices. I mean, I'm just looking down at my price screen. Bet365 9-4, and Hills are really stand out at 10-3, and there's no one else on 3-1. If you like Dancing Gemini, the 10-3 is out of line with the rest of the prices. But like you, I look at what he's done this season. He's almost the new kid on the older miling block, in that he's suddenly turned up and two great. First one, only a listed race, but I don't know how many lengths he won it by. But it was best part of 4 lengths, and then beating Tamfana, although that one hadn't had a run and had a penalty, but he looked good in doing it. But when you take that penalty into account, and it was her first run back, you wouldn't guarantee he'd beat her again. And so I'm with you. And now that he's got to face fast ground, I'm suspect. And maybe much of the blue on his line now, or the short prize other than Hills, is to do with the big story that he's got Ryan Moore. Is obviously a big coup. It's always something to have on your side. The other thing for crazy business is it's apparently the 5th different jockey in the last 5 running.
Wow.
For anyone who thinks jockeys are important continuity, look at this fella. It doesn't matter at all. There'll be backers, but it's such a hot race. And no, like you, I'm not playing Dancing Gemini at that price.
I think just the memory of Charon is too fresh in the memory for the unsexy older milers, and I don't think his winning streak is something that will be replicated by a horse with as low a rating as Charon had as a 3-year-old. So one to avoid for both of us.
Charon 2.0 that's been doing the kind of get it in that he's an older miler and he's now suddenly himself, but that doesn't mean he's going to do what Charon did. So no,
it's unlikely. So next at 4-1, we'd literally just missed the 9-2, or I would have been even more excited about this horse, is Notable Speech. He obviously Guineas winner last year, went on to flop at Ascot, and then he won the Goodwood Stakes. Sorry, not the Goodwood. He won at Goodwood, winning the Sussex Stakes. He was a very pacey miler coming off, or he like to come off the pace with a fast finish, good turn of foot. Lovely horse to watch, exciting horse to watch, similar sort of run style to Rosallion. The two of them going head to head would be fascinating. Is there too much disparity between the price of Rosallion and Notable Speech?
I think there's definitely still too much disparity. Like you said at the outset there, I mean, it's disappointing that he's been nibbled at, because I think we were both saying, and we did tweet when the 5-day decks come out. It's pretty rare, the idea of getting a Guineas and Sussex Stakes winner coming back for a stable who are mustered fresh at 5-1 in a 10-horse race. Extraordinary. That was far too large, and yeah, the 9-2 has just gone. But even 4-1, if you were to do an each way on that, whatever the stake, you'd get 90% of your money back if he was first, second, or third. There'll be worse bets in this world.
Yeah, he's interesting to say the least. We move on to Tamfana. So Tamfana is interesting from another point of view. Her Betfair, obviously, though there's not much liquidity in the market on the Betfair exchange, but her Betfair exchange price is a lot bigger than her bookmaker price. She, as mentioned, would potentially be odds on to turn the form around against Dancing Gemini in a match bet, but at 11-2 currently, with the pre-disband as an option for her, probably not one to back anti-post.
It's fraught with risk. There's a little bit. It's the line on odds check was a mixture of blue and red. It was mainly red earlier. I just wondered with the more blue if a decision has been made. My most recent information is that in the ownership group, Contemplate Racing, one key person wants to go here, and one key person wants to go to the pre-disband in France, which I think is next weekend, so 7-8 days away. Without that decision made, you're taking a real chance by backing this one, the anti-post. So unless you've heard something, I would steer clear. Other aspect, and one reason why they might take her to France, is there's just a suggestion, although I think she won the Shun Chariot on pretty fast ground, the suggestion that she's better on soft, and I think the trainer thinks she's got that extra edge on soft, whereas of course we've got two crack fast ground milers at the head of the market here. So yeah, fascinating. But in a 10-horse race, with her going potentially one or two other doubts, we'll come to this later with an each-way play, it's not impossible this race goes down to 7 runners. So it's just something to think about, with Tamfana as the biggest potential absentee. That may not happen. We don't know yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. One to watch, one to keep touch on the news flow of Tamfana. We'll move on to Fallen Angel, and I will spare your pride by not mentioning what price you suggested putting her up at a week or so, or a couple of weeks ago. But she's drifted to a more backable price at 20s.
Yeah, come on, let's have full confession time here. I said to you, this horse is screaming to be backed 12-1, 10-1, whatever she was then. Yeah. If it rains, these fast grounders, Notable Speech and Rosallion, will come out. You've got to back her. She's a dual Group 1 winner. This is a crazy price. Now you can get 20-1. This is the Sahara Desert of the British Isles for the months of April and May. And I already have in my position at 10-1, which is looking dreadful value now. Necessarily got her best ground, which is softer, but she's a dual Group 1 winner. She has one on Group 2 firm, and I might even have a little bit more. 20-1 is insulting. Things haven't gone her way in terms of the weather and now the field with the fast grounders. But she's a very good filly, and she's a couple of times gone well fresh, so I wouldn't rule her out.
Okay, I'll be avoiding her probably at most prices. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the ground, and I just don't think she's got the class of some of the colts in this race. Lead Artist is next in the betting. He's 25-1. He would obviously need to come on a hell of a lot for his run at Sandown, where he finished 8th of 8 behind Tamfana and Dancing Gemini. Gosden's tend to come on for the run. He might have a different jockey on board next time, which you might find invigorating. He's going to make the running. If Fallen Angel doesn't make the running, doesn't go, if they don't want to run on the ground, could get an easy lead. 25s is quite appealing for a horse that is, I want to say, unexposed.
Yeah, I agree. This one is really interesting now. I think he really does want fast ground. And what you have to excuse, this is a case where you have to forgive a bad run. And it was an appalling run. I think it was in that Dancing Gemini Bet365 mile at Sandown. I don't know where he finished, other than, well, out with the washing. It was the worst of his, last 6 runs by a country mile. It was, I think, it was softer than the description that day. Definitely juice in the ground with Dancing Gemini, Tamfana, Cicero's Gift, Alcantor. This is a sort of study in lovers of soft ground, isn't it? This is a different surface altogether. I think I love it. He should be right up on the pace. And if he gets back to some of the things he did last year, like absolutely thrashing Dancing Gemini on fast ground in, I think, Thoroughbred at Goodwood, other good races on his CV. This is a good horse. And while I think we both be pretty clear he was, below in the pecking order, below Likes a Notable Speech and Rosallion, he's now 25s. I will have an each way on lead artist. My only question really is when to do it. Before Dex, just in case it goes to 7, yes. But he's now a line of pink across on Checker. So at some stage, someone might be tempted to go 28 or 33s, and then it's even more appealing. So I'd kind of watch that line and pounce. If it starts going blue, don't lose the price, get in then. But if it goes out, really interesting each way prospect.
Anything, the line of pink isn't as a result of there being question marks over whether he runs or not. Has he been confirmed?
That has not been confirmed. I don't have knowledge on that, but in a way, I don't see why he wouldn't. He's got his ground. He's had his Judgment's only runner. I think I'm right in saying. I mean, pretty much all the bookmakers have pushed out every horse, basically as a sort of quid pro quo for having cut. Or more or less, most of them cut Dancing Gemini. Almost all of them cut Notable Speech, so that something's got to give. So that's why he's big. There's 2.
Okay, cool. Also fan of lead artists, and then my interest, I have to confess, sort of rapidly drops off a cliff as we look at Persico Prague, Check and Challenge, and Stormstar. Do any of those at big prices, 40s plus, appeal to you?
Change the ground, and I'd be running down to the bookmakers to take 40 to 1 on Persico, but I don't think this is his ground, as he's a really improving horse. He was only a handicapper, early last season, but a really good one. But G3, possibly G2 type. Given a bit of cut, he'd be fascinating at 40s, but I don't think he'll run. So there's 2 reasons not to back him: the ground and the doubt over him running because of the ground. Prague is now 50s for Bet365. One piece of form last season suggests this horse could be really, really good, but it was on soft ground. Market in the Joel Stakes when he was four-length winner from a decent G2.
I mean, he almost went off favourite in the QE2 after that, didn't he?
Absolutely. It was, well, I think he was supplemented, and he was pretty well priced. But this is one where he'd run, and you're one of these people, you can put your fingers in your ears about ground doesn't matter, then give him a shot. But for me, as you know, I'm a bit of a ground obsessive. Ground does matter. I don't want no part of him. Check and Challenge, 100 to 1. He's won one of his last 20. That was the last listed race. He's picked up minor checks for coming 4th in Group 1s. I think his Group 1 race is 14th, 8th, 4th, 6th, 4th. 2 honourable 4ths. At Ascot on Champions Day, but just no in the stacked field. And then you've got Stormstar. If I told you Andrew Balding had a horse who was 1-1-1 and was 100 to 1 going into a race, you'd think, what's wrong with the world? But you look at what he's beaten and the surface he's done it on. It's all on the old weather. Beating decent handicappers. This is It's owned by Jeff Smith, and Jeff Smith is not afraid to tilt at windmills. Though it should be pointed out, I think, wasn't he the guy who owned Arabian Queen who turned over Golden Horn at an insane price in the International many years ago?
Yes, 50 to 1. I can't remember if it is the
It's
same silks, but
just rather than Andrew Balding driven, but no interest.
okay. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, that is a run through all the horses in varying levels of detail. And say there'll be a few horses where you want to follow the market, follow the news flow, see what's happening. Tamfana specifically, Fallen Angel, Will She Drift, and then Lead Artist, what's happening with his price. But I think it's safe to say that the two horses we're most interested in is Lead Artist and Notable Speech at the current prices.
Yeah, absolutely. We think they're kind of overpriced, and then there's me, very differently from you, out on a limb, saying 20 to 1 is just a bit too big for Fallen Angel.
Yeah, listen to that if you like. I don't know. Well, cool. Well, yeah. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for making it this far again. Pleased to have some new subscribers on board. It's very exciting for us. And comment, let us know your thoughts, let us know who you've backed, and let us know if you win as well. That would be nice too. But have a good weekend, everyone, and thank you very much for watching.